Greetings, adventurers. This is DM Kurt, and a lot of people have been talking about the OGL lately, but I figure that's been already pretty much talked over. I'm going to go to what I haven't done lately is give y'all a breakdown of what's been going on in my 5e game. So, when I started this 5e campaign, I didn't start with a very specific campaign setting. So I decided, hey, everybody just show up, run what you bring, and fine, let's go. Let's get started because I haven't met all y'all. Who knows what people are going to want to do. So, yeah. Um, anyway, we get going on it, and kind of midway, this guy wants to bring in, he retires one character and wants to bring in a homebrew class of gunslinger. He wrote up the class, multiple subclasses for it, and wants to playtest it. I said, fine, okay, no problem. So let's bring this in, see how it works, and well, it worked out okay. It was interesting, kind of this ranged damage dealer, like a sorcerer would be, and yet. Because it's a gunslinger, it's doing more of a martial feel than a caster feel. But okay, cool. He had a backstory and a setup kind of like a Van Helsing monster hunter. Okay, cool. Class worked out pretty well for him for a while, but we ended up in some troll caverns, and we were fighting a couple of regular trolls and a two-headed troll shaman. It would be a shaman of Vaprak the Destroyer from back in 1E days. You know, if you have to go in to get in lore, hey, use all the sources, right? So, yes, my co-stars back here are excited about what's out on the street. Of course. So, they're in this chamber. It's about 3 chambers into the troll dens, where there's a 60-foot pit in the center of the chamber. The trolls, in their infinite wisdom, have had a habit of throwing creatures into the pit and then throwing rocks down on them to tenderize the meat, then they climb down and feast. That's kind of their thing. Yay, we got a big hole, let's throw things in it. The gunslinger decided to, he's kind of running low on his specialty ammo. He pulls out a longsword and climbs onto the large troll and starts stabbing at it. Well, somebody else casts Shatter so that they can get, boom, both of the trolls in the blast radius of the spell. However, Shatter has a really good effect on inanimate objects. In fact, twice the damage on inanimate objects as it does on living creatures. Specifically, the inanimate object of the rock at the edge of a cliff. There was a little bit of a rock slide, and the hole expanded. Dexterity saves were forced. Dexterity checks. One of the trolls failed, and the gunslinger failed. They land in the bottom of a 60-foot pit. The gunslinger was out of hit points. He was at 0. The troll was alive. He had to take it over the course of the next few rounds. While things were going up above, first he had to make a death save. Failed. Failed on the first one. Now it's best 3 out of 5. You roll a 20, you get up at 1 hit point, you blow 3 out of 5, you're dead. You make 3 out of 5, you're alive. Okay, let's go. Let's see what happens. Well, the troll at the bottom of the pit sees food right in front of it. Prone, incapacitated, ready to be eaten. Claw bite. 2 hits and a crit. Now, if you want to go with an incapacitated creature being auto crits on all hits, you don't even need to do that because we were already at 5 failed death saves. That's dead. Somebody up above tried throwing him a healing potion. This healing potion goes down 60 feet, shatters at the bottom, and he was in no position to drink it anyway. They also shoved a second troll the two-headed one, into the pit to take fall damage, and then the barbarian decides to jump into the pit to do a leaping attack with an axe. I've seen that before with a previous barbarian in a completely different campaign with a completely different set of players. I guess it's a barbarian thing, right? Jump off a tall thing and hoping to land weapon first on somebody. Yeah, the person you land on is going to take some damage. You're going to take some damage from, I don't care what you land on. A troll is not, in this case, a soft landing spot. You are going to take damage from the fall yourself, but hey, also get your attack. It's a cool attack, fine. You can do damage. You will take damage. That's adjudicated. The barbarian finishes off 2 wounded trolls. Fire is applied. The trolls don't regenerate. And now everything's done. We have a character who is deceased. Okay, that happens. Adventuring comes with risk and reward. And if there weren't risk, there wouldn't be thrill, right? Death in D&D, death of a character, should be something that's never guaranteed to happen, because otherwise, screw it, I'm just going to lose. But it also should be, there should be the chance to win, the chance to lose, there just has to be that risk, and that makes the thrill. Okay, cool, but, hey, Colt, you did good, but, that's the way it happened. So the player needs to roll up a new character. Now, a flurry of emails go back and forth as I'm coordinating with this character, with this player, about his new character. He is of the belief that we need a cleric. Okay, we have what James described as the cleric dilemma. Eric doesn't want to play a cleric, but yet feels we need a cleric. Now in previous editions, that was a little more true, in my opinion. It was always, we need a mage, a cleric, a thief, and a fighter. We need all 4. That's the 4. And that's the way we always used to play. With 5e, there's healing during short rests. There's healing on long rests. There are a variety of classes that have at least one subclass that can do some sort of healing. So there's more than one way to get healing into a party without running a cleric. And all due respect to my players, you can do whatever you want here. With 5e, that's just so easy to heal. There's also, one of my players said, hey, the best defense is a good offense. We've been steamrolling things all the way to level 5, and we're doing really good. So, do we really need a healer if we just kill everything before it can hurt us? Okay, you like to play aggressive. I like that. All right, rock on. Well, I tell this player, okay, you can play any class in the player's handbook plus Artificer. How about that? Cool. He asks what races are allowed. And okay, I give him a long list of what races I'm allowing, and I'm only disallowing a few. Nothing undead or quasi-undead like Dampier or the Reborn from Theros or anything like that. Some of the more monstrous stuff I think would be a bad fit for the party. Alignments, alignment, anything that doesn't have the word evil anywhere in it. Subclasses, there's just too many subclasses to too many to list. So, just let me know if you have an idea, but we'll talk about it. He comes up with, now I said, animal people are allowed, okay? Except for gnolls. I don't think there's a playable gnoll race in 5e, and if there is, it's from some off-brand, weirdo, off-to-the-side thing. By 5e lore, they're just too demonic, no, not happening. Now, the reason I'm allowing animal people, one of my players, younger person, loves tabaxi and aarakocra and all that, so I allowed it. And I had a new player I'd never met before. He brought in his character, a Herringon. Cool. I'm not going to bar what I've already allowed. Wouldn't seem fair. Cool. Owlin. Oh, I forgot all about those. Those came out with the Strixhaven book. All right. It's kind of like an Aarakocra, bird person, owl flavored. It can fly, has dark vision, and it has automatic proficiency and stealth. Okay, so a skill proficiency. No problem. Cleric. Okay? Twilight Cleric. I'm like, Twilight. Twilight for an owl type thing. That meshes good. I like it. What you got? Roll it, do it. I'm okay with that. Then one email. Would it be too cheeky to be asking for a magic item? Well, let's see. The gunslinger had an item that would be of 0 use to the Owlin. It's going to be passed out in the party. I'm like, okay, one uncommon thing, equivalent of a +1 weapon. 1 +1 weapon, or equivalent. Here's my idea for your Owlin. I'll give you a set of throwing knives. Okay? They +1 to hit, +1 to damage, but the 1 point of damage is whatever damage type you want it to be. Now, I was thinking it would shift. Like, oh, I need to pull out my fire knife. Oop, I need to pull out my lightning knife, Cool, right? Now, I told him Google Feather Blade, and then Google Marvel Character Archangel. These blades are kind of designed to look like feathers with a little bit of a tab, to throw with, and a nice sharp edge. And they can be hidden in amongst the feathers of a feathered creature like an Aarakocra, Kenku, or Owlin. And if they are hidden, it's like a deception or stealth check at a +1 if you're searched for them, and they will not shake loose. If you are grabbed upside down and shaken vigorously, they will not fall out. So these are the kind of like little throwing knives that you could sneak into places, right? And you said your deity is Celestian. I'm going to call them Blades of Celestian, or Feathers of Celestian. And whether this is a set of knives you found and decide to name that, or they were made by someone of your faith, and say made for you and given to you, either way, the backstory of the blades is like for you. And he said, okay, cool, 1d4 +1 lightning damage. I'm like, okay, cool. Totally works. So this character is going to be joining us at our Tuesday game. I don't know their name yet. I don't know where they decided to put the attributes. So you're going to have a high wisdom and either a high dexterity or a high strength. It's going to be one or the other. I just know it. He was saying, well, I could go heavy armor and go strength, or I could go dexterity and go light armor and be able to fly. And I'm like, dude, your choice. You can go either of those paths. Personally, I would go the dex route, but player's choice, right? So that's what's going to be joining us at our next game. I look forward to it. And in fact, I probably need to send him an email, and we'll discuss how I'm going to introduce him into the party. Anyway, that's it for my 5e game. I think you're caught up as much as... oh, yes, you're not caught up, maybe necessarily. So, they've been in the Underdark, and they met the Deep Gnomes. The Deep Gnomes went, there's way worse things down below. And we don't think that you are ready to go meet what's down below. We don't want you going down and stirring up trouble and then running for the exit and bringing it towards us. So if you can handle the trolls and some of the stuff that's around here, we'll give you a map that gets you down further. But if you can't handle this stuff, you're best off just going up above. Go to the surface world where you guys belong, because it's nasty down here. Trust us, we live here. This is a bad neighborhood. Now, when I role-played the deep gnomes, you look at them, right? You look at the artwork of them. Bald-headed, gray-skinned, they're all about stealth. That's how they live in a place where everything's evil but them. They have these large noses. And I'm thinking with the large nose and sinus cavity, they should talk in a very nasally voice like Fran Drescher on The Nanny. So I did the voice of Fran Drescher on The Nanny as Carmanaren, the priestess who led the Deep Gnomes. When I did this, I also said, hey, you guys, we will give you some of our rations, so you have a little bit of supply here. We'll give you all some, basic adventuring gear. And when I said rations, I pulled out 2 bags of mushroom jerky from Fred Meyer and handed that out. They give you some mushroom jerky here. And then the players were like, what? Okay. Now, if you've never had mushroom jerky, which I hadn't until that night, so I was trying it for the very first time, just like they were, it is surprisingly close to meat. It tastes pretty decent. I mean, it's not the best jerky compared to some of the better beef jerkies, but it's pretty decent. It smells a little worse than it tastes, if that makes any sense, but pretty decent. It turns out one of my players loved the nasally voice of the gnomes, and one found it annoying, which was kind of fun. And that's what I intend to do. Speaking of deep gnomes, I offered that if they don't want a cleric in the party, I would provide an NPC who is a gnome cleric or cleric /X multiclass as a friendly NPC that would attach to their party. And this one player who's making a new character decided to do a cleric, so I'm off the hook for that. Although I might, I'll offer an NPC. I'll say, hey, you guys want to hire? You guys want a guide? A guide will come with you. We'll see how well that goes off with the overall party. But anyway, yeah, the schnoz. The gnomes have the schnoz. They're gonna talk from the schnoz. So I had a great time. I believe most or all of my players had a good time. And that's kind of where I am for the next session. Thanks. DM Kurt out, and please like and subscribe.